Hello YouTube, Joseph Crickmore here, and I'm bringing you a video idea I thought of a while ago, but since Project Multi-Prime is on my priority list, this was set off for a while until I was sure I could do a video, and I have the time, and here we are. It's ranking the 7 deadly sins, in my opinion, from the worst character to the best character, from 7 to 1. 7 is the worst, 1 is the best. Just letting you know now. Spoilers ahead for the show. I don't know why you would watch stuff about the show if you haven't seen the show, but spoilers ahead for the show and all its seasons. Yeah, that includes the newest season that was out for a while. Spoilers ahead. You have been warned. Now then, let's get into this. Another thing I need to mention. Eskin's not number 1. Sure, his character's OP and all, but I'll get into why when I get to Eskin. But he's not number 1, just telling you now. I wrote this down so I wouldn't forget. Number 7, oh boy. A character who's practical, but not a morally good character. Number 7 is Gowther. Yeah, Gowther. Let's talk. And like I said, spoilers ahead. You're watching at your own risk. Gowther's a doll. He was brought to life by the demon Gowther of the same name. But that demon was working for the 10 Commandments. And if you know who they are, great. If you don't, they're a group of demons that the Demon King chose to be his emissaries, if you will. And he gave them commandments. That way they have advantages over people. Like, for example, Galen's, which is the easiest to explain. He's the commandment of truth. Where if you tell a lie in his presence and you have full knowledge of the lie, then you get turned to stone. Yeah, that kind of a thing. It's not a commandment at all. It's a curse, basically. But Gowther's number 7 because he doesn't understand. He's like a robot in our terms. Now, this is taking place in a medieval setting. The Kingdom of Britannia, which is right next door to Camelot. Hey. Later on we see Arthur, which is a really nice touch by the writer. Back to Gowther. He's what you call a character without emotions. Heck, he even erases Gila's memories, a holy night, because he wants to have a relationship with her. He tries to learn what emotions are. Then Deanne gives this amazing speech about how you can't just erase people's memories. They're not information that you could delete or rewrite. Now, Deanne was talking morally. Gowther doesn't understand morals. He took it too literally to the point where he erased Deanne's memories to prove his point. And then, you know, as that whole scene goes, he kind of got beaten up for doing that, and yeah. That's why I rank him at the bottom. He ruined a lot. I mean, sure, he's great in battle. Like, all his scenes where he's fighting are really good. But that scene with the memories and the mind, and him and Eskin in that stupid festival that Gloxina and Droll made, they just completely ruin his character, in my opinion. And for the whole season, after Deanne lost her memories, after Gowther did it, I was yelling at my screen, "Gowther, restore her memories!" No. And I hear in the manga, since the manga's past the end of the season, that she does get her memories back, but I'm still mad that Gowther didn't do it already. I hate his character sometimes. He's practical, but not a good character. I think we've said enough. Moving on to number 6. People are going to hate me for putting him at 6. Him. Yeah. King. King at number 6. I have a reason. King is a little quick to judge. Yet he abandoned his sister and the Fairy King Forest for hundreds of years. He blames Bond for the death of his sister, even though he does learn eventually it wasn't him. It was a demon that killed Elaine. But even going into the season 3, because I still call the Signs of Holy War a season. Screw you, Netflix. Anyway, in the new season, season 3, He learns that Meliodas is a demon. He doesn't even learn the full story yet. He doesn't even know more about Meliodas than the fact that he was the captain of the 7 deadly sins, and now that he knows that he's a demon, he can't trust him. Really, King? You have trust issues with the captain? You have trust issues with Bond? You have trust issues with everybody. And you rely too much on your sacred treasure. You rely too much on Chastieful. I know people love his character. I know his ship with Deanne, and I fully agree with it, which is why I hate Gother more. But his trust issues with the entire team are causing me to put him at number 6. Otherwise, if it weren't for that, he would be like number 2 or 1 on my list. But nope, he's 6 because his trust. I can't look at him the same way anymore. Moving on to number 5 is Merlin. Merlin. I bet you're wondering why Merlin is number 5. Well, it's kind of like the reason that this character's number 4 as well. Like, it's the same reason for 5 and 4, once we get to 4 as well. She hasn't had that much screen time compared to Deanne, King, Bond, Meliodas. Merlin, and one other that we'll get to in a minute, hasn't had that much screen time. What I mean is, they haven't had a lot of backstory given to us. How are you supposed to get behind a character who you don't know much about? You learn a lot about Bond. You learn somewhat enough about Meliodas to understand him. You learn a lot about King and the Fairy King Forest. You learn about the giant race through Deanne's backstory while she still has amnesia. The problem is, though, Merlin hasn't had that much screen time. And her origin, her race, is still unknown to us. But you gotta admit, when you look at that body, you're like, woo! But, I mean, she was the first of the 7 deadly sins that Meliodas recruited, because she was the one that literally went to Meliodas when the king had his premonition of 7 sins would come together to protect the kingdom against the 10 commandments. Still, I can't put Merlin higher. I don't know much about her. She looks nice, though. But still, we don't know much about her. She has a lot of potential, though. She has a lot of power. But I can't put her higher. And it's the same for number 4. Number 4 on my list is Eskin. Like I said in the beginning, he's not number 1. He's number 4. And there's a reason why. He has the least amount of screen time out of all the 7 deadly sins. What I mean? 3 major events in the 3rd season where Eskin takes place in. 3 major things people think of when they hear his name. His debut against Galen and Melascula. That's the name of the girl that eats souls, but honestly, all the 10 commandments eat souls. She's the one that brings them back from the dead to their bodies. Her. When he fought both of them, when he fought Gother and technically Gloxina and Droll in the tournament that they made, and when he fought Esterosa in like episode 22. Huh? Am I seeing this right? 3 major events where Eskin's OP. 3 major events that make him amazing. I mean, sure, he's shown in other episodes in his what do I even call it? His normal form, his nighttime form, his weak, scrawny barkeeper. But when he's a badass, those are the 3 moments I think of, and they're the only 3 at the moment. Sure, this video could be completely irrelevant with Eskin by the time the next season comes out. I could already be wrong. But what I've seen, I can't put him higher on my list. That's my opinion. I even said that. So I'm sorry if you don't agree with that. I fully agree with his character. He is, I fully agree with it. But that's the same with Merlin. Not enough screen time to justify anything. Moving on to number 3, we have the giant Deanne. We see her really early on. She's the first sin that Meliodas goes to find after Elizabeth goes to Meliodas in the beginning, seeking to recruit the 7 deadly sins again, because the Holy Knights got corrupted. We all know now it was because of Dreyfus and Hendrickson being controlled by a demon, manipulating the Holy Knights to blame the 7 deadly sins, and etc., etc. Like I said, spoilers! Go watch the show. Anyway, Deanne is one of the first sins we see with Meliodas on screen, even though it's like the first after a while. At first, she doesn't recognize the captain. It's like, oh, the captain! And then he sees that he's with Elizabeth, and then she gets envious, like, Captain, how could you already be with another girl? But besides that, Deanne is amazing as a character. You get a lot of information about her backstory later on in the new season. She has a lot of power. She, like all giants, she can turn herself metal. She has her giant sacred treasure Gideon, her hammer. She can control Earth. She was the one that got her memory erased twice, I think. Once it was by Gother, the other was by herself. I don't even know if that's erasing her memory. I don't even know. She got hit in the head with her own hammer when Galen kicked it back in her face. But did she lose her memories? Now that I'm thinking about it, maybe not. I'm just stalling for time here because there's not much I can say about Deanne. Oh, and the only reason she's high on my list because anyone else I would have put at number 3 didn't deserve number 3. Ah well. It's one of those things where you can't put it into words. And when you see 7 Deadly Sins and you see the show, you'll understand what I mean. Number 2! And now you're thinking of the 2 that I haven't mentioned yet. Exactly. If you know the 7 Deadly Sins, you know the 2 that are left. And you're like, wait, which one's number 1? Which one's number 2? In my opinion, number 2 goes to my friend. Not up there. Here. Bon. That's right. Bon. He had a lot of backstory. People thought that he burned down the Fairy King Forest when in reality it was a demon. They also thought that he drank the entire Fountain of Youth as an act of greed, when in reality Elaine gave it to him. They even thought that he killed the guardian of the fountain, which was Elaine. No one knew it was a demon because Bon killed the demon, which is why he was given his sin of greed. And then King comes back to fight Bon again because I'm getting vengeance for my sister after you killed her, and Bon's like, that's not true. And then they go to this land where the dead and the living can see each other again, but only by bound of strong emotions, because we learned through a flashback that Bon protected Elaine even when she was dying. Elaine gave Bon the sacred water to drink, but it wasn't like a drink. She actually put it in her mouth and she kissed Bon with it, and Bon became immortal. And ever since then, his character has been amazing. There's even like this part in the new season where Melascula, when she does resurrect the souls, Elaine does come back to life. But in the time she was dead, a girl fell in love with Bon, Jericho. And Elaine was jealous. So her regret was that she didn't get to go around the world with Bon because she died. Like I said, spoilers. And at the end of it all, she does die again because they do kill her. Actually, wait, do they? Not yet. That's weird. The end of the season is not a full end of the season because Zeldris, which is the Commandment's pseudo-leader, I guess, has control over Camelot when Arthur wasn't looking, and they have control over the country. Zeldris, Esterosa, yeah, Esterosa's still alive. What's his name? Monspeed? No, Monspeed's dead. Same with Derriere. Galen's dead. It's like all the season finale did was kill the demon that caused Dreyfus and Hendrickson to do something in the first place. Oh, boy. So we knew there was more coming. So I guess Elaine is still alive until Melascula dies. And now that we've talked about 6 of the 7, you're like, Joey, why would you put him at number 1? And a lot of you are doing that to me right now. I have that feeling. Number 1 is the captain of the 7 Deadly Sins, Meliodas. You're all wondering to yourself, why is he number 1? Well, he has the most screen time. Okay, that's a lazy reason. But I have more reasons. Another reason is his commandment. Yeah, that's right, I said commandment. He was the leader of the 10 Commandments. But then he fell in love with a woman named Elizabeth. And she was a human, so he betrayed the 10 Commandments for this woman. And the Demon King, because of his betrayal, his treachery, the Demon King gave his son. Yeah, that's right. Meliodas is the Demon King's son. That's another thing. He gave him a curse so that every time Meliodas died, he would resurrect himself. But he would lose his emotions every time, turning him more and more into the demon that his father wants him to be. And the weird thing is, because Elizabeth was a descendant of the goddess race, she would reincarnate herself every time. And since Meliodas essentially can never die, and he can never age if he wants to, he can age if he wants to, but he doesn't because he's a demon. The current Princess Elizabeth was adopted by the king. And that was like the 3,000th reincarnation of Elizabeth. Because we learned like one of the episodes towards the season finale of the new season that Elizabeth was just reincarnated over and over and over again. And Meliodas had to watch her die by the same demon over and over and over again. After a while, you sympathize for the guy. He lost the love of his life millions of times to the same person. Until he finally killed Fraudrin because he was sick of it. Anyway, that's my list. 7 to 1. You understand. And I can't really say anything else. I really don't know what else to say. I really do not. It's my list personally. You can choose to agree or not. It's up to you. But that's how I did it. The video where I discuss my decisions, like I explain why I picked those characters for my Multi-Prime project, the one that went up a while ago, the newest one, I'll get that out eventually, and I'll give you some insider hints about the story that I'm crafting. But what I mean by that is I'll tell you how the story's gonna, like how it's gonna open, because at this point you're all like, well, Joey, you have this amazing project with a bunch of Transformers. How is it gonna open? And I'll give you that answer shortly, and I'm gonna leave it at that. So if you want to hear how that will happen and everything, and if you love the video, subscribe, share it with a friend, and thank you all so much for watching. I'll see you all in the next one. Goodbye.